Katie, thank you. I feel horrible being under a tent and y'all are all out there. Feel free to come in here under the tent. You're quite welcome. And come up close. What a joy. Thank you, Patty, and thanks to the great, here we go. Come on in here. Come on in the tent. I mean, why be wet? For all that you're doing, it's a joy for me to come all this way and be part of the Clean Campaigns Colorado. What you're doing is exactly what America wants done, and that is to take the mockery out of democracy and put the people back in democracy, which is what we're all struggling for here. Now, a lot of people say, well, you can't do that the money powers are too strong, that we can't fight them, that you just can't escape the corporate shackles. But as a friend of mine who's been a pioneer in the organic movement said to me once, he said, Hightower, those who say it can't be done should not interrupt those who are doing it. And that would be y'all. You good folks who are out there gathering these petitions, doing the kind of work that it takes for democracy to survive. It is difficult. You get to feeling like that guy that B.B. King sings about, nobody likes you but your mama and she might be jiving you too. It's difficult, I know, and people kind of try to ridicule you sometimes and say, well, you just can't get this done. But the truth is, we can get it done, and we must get it done. And the only thing that has ever gotten it done in America is just ordinary folks like you, picking it up and doing the heavy lifting of democracy. Nobody from the top is going to come do this for us. They're the ones doing it to us. So we've got to do this heavy lifting from the bottom. And that's the great thing about this organization that's been at it for 4 or 5 years now, pressing ahead. You know, we don't win the first time out. We just have to keep pushing. And now you're on the verge of doing something big. If you can get this before the people will support it. There's no question about that. That's what we learned everywhere that we've had this in Arizona and North Carolina and Maine and Connecticut and everywhere else that this is taking place. But it takes organizations like you're doing. You know, it's easy to go out and do one of these teabag rallies. You know, I just hate big government. You know, I don't want government touching my Medicare. And I want small government. Well, that's easy, but that doesn't get anything done. What gets it done is having an organization and a strategy and mobilizing people and going out and pulling them together. And that's why this organized effort is so essential. I compare it to a hardware store near my home in Austin, Texas, called Harold's Hardware. It's a little bitty thing. It's about, 4 times the size of this tent here, basically. It's not one of these big box stores, but it's a great place because you don't have to buy the whole box of nails. They'll sell you 2 nails, you know. They'll loan you a tool to take home and bring it back. And the slogan at Harold's Hardware is, together we can do it yourself. Now that's pretty much got to be our slogan, doesn't it? Because we can't do it ourselves, but together we can. And now is the time to get it done. I know some people even say to y'all, well, this isn't the time to do it. You know, those teabag people and Rush Limbaugh and Sarah Palin, they'll attack us. And this isn't the time. We should just kind of lay back and be quiet. Well, holy Thomas Paine, be quiet? Since when do democracy-loving Americans cower in quietude? If you don't speak out when it matters, when would it ever matter that you're going to speak out? And this is the time, as we're seeing in everything from the BP oil spill to that shameful Wall Street bailout. The powers that be are running roughshod over us. They're stealing our government, and they're stealing our politics, and then stealing our government, and by doing that, then they steal our environment, they steal our middle class, they steal the possibilities that America really represents. So that, to me, is the importance of what you're doing and why we've got to be more aggressive than ever. Some people say, well, that after Obama won and the Democrats took over the Congress, well, we could just crank back my lazy boy and do some 12-ounce elbow bends, and everything will be all right. Well, no, that hadn't worked out that well, has it? This isn't a partisan issue about getting the corrupt money out of politics. It is an American issue. It's a democracy issue. My friend Molly Ivins, y'all know her, a number of you do. Susan DeMarco was here with me too, and we co-authored, we're co-conspirators and co-authors, and our last book we dedicated to Molly. And Molly told a story once about, came down to campaign finance issues, and she told about a state senator out of West Texas, got elected, came to Austin. Very first thing, here comes a lobbyist saying, I'm going to need your vote tomorrow, and here's $300. And the senator said, well, this is working out pretty good. He put it in his pocket, went on about his business. But come the next day, lo and behold, he voted against the lobbyist bill. And so the lobbyist comes up and said, what the hell are you doing? And he said, well, the other side offered me $400. And the lobbyist exploded all over him, talking about ethics and integrity. And the senator straightened himself up, as proud as he could be, and said, well, you knew I was weak when I took the $300. But it's not about, an occasional corruptor or corruptee. The whole system has become corrupt. And that's what we're battling against. DeMarco and I, again, in our last book, we quoted a guy who was a tourist over in Bangkok. I'll shut this down sort of with this. This tourist had been to the Great Temple, and he'd come out in the glare of the sunlight. Was a monk standing over here, and he signaled to the monk in full regalia, could I snap your picture? Yes, the monk nodded. He took it. Over here was a boy selling water, and he went over and bought a bottle of water to give to the monk. And he paid for it and waited for his change, but it was not forthcoming. And so the tourist thought there was a language problem. So he pointed to his palm and said, don't I get change? And the boy looked up at him and looked over at the monk, and then in perfect English said, change comes from within. And that's the truth. Change comes from within. And that's what you're doing. It comes from within the grassroots, from within our own hearts. We have to be the change, as one of your great organizations that is behind this clean election campaign is all about. So I'll leave you with this, because I know you're wet and cold, and we need to get to the beer and whatever else we're having here. But there's something Louis Grizzard, who's a late great Southern humorist, explained something that we in the South have known to be true for a long time, and that is there's a great big difference between being naked and being naked. Being naked means you have no clothes on, but being naked, that means you have no clothes on and you are up to something. So that's what I like about your effort and what you're doing. You're up to something big. You're going to lead the country forward. Thank you so much for what you're doing. Thanks for coming out on this horrible evening.
Thank you so much, Jim.